As per the Gita texts, when we are reciting verse 21, after the first line, there it says Arjuna Uvacha and the second line goes. But in the PDF what we are sharing, that is not printed there. So do I say Arjuna Uvacha, or shall I just go as per Maharishi's text?
As per Maharishi's thing.
Thank you, Himant.
Whenever we have a doubt like that, we always follow Maharishi instruction.
Definitely. Thank you.
Okay. So, Jai Gurudev to all who just joined. We will begin now. सचिन वेद पंडितों का स्क्रीन रख के राम राम टीवी का कनेक्शन करके वो लिंक भेज देना. And I would like to request our Veda Pandits to start with Sahana Bhavatu. अब हम 10 मिनट ध्यान करेंगे. जो भावाती ध्यान सीखे हैं वो भावाती ध्यान करेंगे, और जो लोग अभी नहीं सीखे हैं वो आंखें बंद करके मन को अंतर्मुख करके बैठना. We will begin now. Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev. Take a minute or so and slowly open the eyes. Jai Gurudev. Now we will begin Bhagavad Gita, first chapter recitation. I would like to request our Vedic Pandits to keep only one cell phone on and the other two to please turn it off, because it's not coordinating if you keep all your three phones on. So during recitation, Mukesh ji, aap on rakhna, other two please turn off your cell phones and begin first chapter Parayana, please.
पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितं भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितं पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवन् गीते भवद्वेषिणी। ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः। श्रीमद्भगवत गीता अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः। धृतराष्ट्र उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामकः पाण्डवाश्चैव किं कुर्वत् सञ्जय। सञ्जय उवाच दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डवानीकं व्यूढं दुर्योधनस्तदा आचार्यमुपसंगम्य राजा वचनमब्रवीत् पश्येतां पाण्डुपुत्राणामाचार्यमहतीं च मूम् व्यूढां द्रुपदपुत्रेण तपसिष्ठेन धीमता शूरा महेश्वासा भीमार्जुन समायुधि ययुधानो विराटश्च द्रुपदश्च महारथः धृष्टकेतुश्चेकितानः काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् पुरुजित् कुन्तिभोजश्च शैब्यश्च नरपुङ्गवः युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्त उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्व एव महारथः अस्माकं तु विशिष्टा एतान् निबोध्य द्वयोत्तमा नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते। भवान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च कृपश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सोमदत्तिस्तथैव च अन्ये च बहवः शूरा मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणा सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितम् पर्याप्तं त्विदमेतेषां बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम् अयनेषु च सर्वेषु यथा भागमवस्थिताः भीष्ममेवाभिरक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्व एव हि तस्य सञ्जनयन् हर्षं कुरु वृद्धः पितामहः सिंहनादं विनोद्योच्चैः शङ्खं दध्मौ प्रतापवान् ततः शङ्खाश्च वीर्यश्च प्रणवान् खगोमुखाः सहसैवाभ्यहन्यन्ता सशब्दसमनोऽभवत् तथा श्वेतैर्हरैर्युक्ते महति नन्दने स्थितौ माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव दिव्यौ शङ्खौ प्रदध्मतुः पाञ्चजन्यं ऋषिकेशो देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः पौण्ड्रं दध्मौ महाशङ्खं भीमकर्मा वृकोदरः अनन्तविजयं राजा कुन्तीपुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः नकुलः सहदेवश्च शुभोषमणिपुष्पकौ आयुश्च परमेश्वासा शिखण्डी च महारथः दृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्यकिश्चापराजितः द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयश्च सर्वशः पृथिवीपते सौभद्रश्च महाबाहो शङ्खान् दध्मौ पृथक् पृथक् सघोषो धार्तराष्ट्राणां हृदयानि व्यधारयत् नभश्च पृथिवीं चैव तुमुलो व्यनुनादयन् अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यमिदमाह महीपते अर्जुन उवाच सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापयमेच्युत यावदेतान् निरीक्षेऽहं युद्धकामानवस्थितान् कैर्मया सायोध्याभ्यामस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे योत्स्यमानानवेक्षेऽहं ययेतेऽत्र समागताः धार्तराष्ट्रश्च दुर्बुद्धेर्युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्तो ऋषिकेशो गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम् भीष्मद्रोणप्रमुखतः सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्यैतान् समवेतान् कुरूनिति तत्रापश्य स्थितान् पार्था पितॄन् पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखीस्तथा श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेय सर्वान् बन्धूनवस्थितान् कृपया परया विष्टो विषेदन्निदमब्रवीत् अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेवं स्वजनं कृष्णायुत्सं समुपस्थितम् सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परुषुष्यति देवतुश्च शरीरेणो मे हर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीवं संसते हस्तैश्चैव परिदह्यते न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं भ्रमतीव च मे मनः निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव न च श्रेयोऽनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च किं नो राज्येन गोविन्द किं भोगैर्जीवितेन वा येषामर्थे काङ्क्षितं नो राज्यं भोगः सुखानि च तैमेव स्थिता युद्धे प्राणस्त्यक्त्वा धनानि च आचार्याः पितरः पुत्रास्तथैव च पितामहाः मातुलाः श्वशुराः पौत्राः शालाः सम्बन्धिनस्तथा एतान् हन्तुमिच्छामि ज्ञतोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्यराजस्य हेतो किं नु मही कृते निहत्य धार्तराष्ट्रान्नः का प्रीतिः स्यात् जनार्दन पापमेवाश्रयेत सर्वान् हत्वैतान् ततायिनः तस्मान्नार्हा वयं हन्तुं धार्तराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव यद्येतेन पश्यामि लोभोपहत चेतसः कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न गेयमस्माभिः पापादस्मान् निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्मः सनातनः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृष्णामधर्मो विभवत्युत अधर्माविभवात् कृष्णा प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः तेषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेया जायते वर्णशङ्करः शङ्करो नरकायैव कुलघ्नानां कुलस्य च पतन्ति पितरो येषां लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रियः दोषैरेतैः कुलघ्नानां वर्णशङ्करकारकैः उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्मा कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वताः उत्सन्नकुलधर्माणां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके नियतं वासो भवतीनुशुश्रुमा अहो बत महत् पापं कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयम् यद्राज्यसुखलोभेन हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यताः यदि माम प्रतीकारामशस्त्रं शस्त्रपाणयः धार्तराष्ट्रारणे हन्युस्तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत् संजय उवाच एवमुक्त्वार्जुनः सङ्ख्ये रथोपस्थ उपाविशत् विसृज्य सशरं चापं सोमसंविघ्नमानसः ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवादे अर्जुन विषाद योगो नाम प्रथमोऽध्यायः।
Jai Gurudev. Now we will begin Gita study. Mala, please. Madhavi, are you doing? Unmute, please.
Jai Gurudev. Hrishikesham tada vakyam idamahamahi senayorubhayor madhye ratham sthapayamechyuta. Then, O Lord of earth, he spoke these words to Hrishikesha, Bhagwan Krishna, draw up my chariot between the two armies, O Achyuta. Yavadeta niriksheham Yodhukamanavasthitan Kairmaya sahayodhavyam Asmin ranasamudyame. So that I may observe those who stand here eager for battle and know with whom I should fight in this toil of war.
Now, Dr. Sharmaji will recap what we have discussed in the last session. We have learned that Arjuna's flag has image of Sri Hanuman. Hanuman is one of 7 Chiranjeevi. We also talked about that a little bit. And now Sharmaji will tell us about the scientific research on immortality and what Maharishi ji had been telling us about immortality. Sharmaji?
Jai Gurudev. So actually, while recapping, we can also say that we were studying from Shloka 16 to 22, and the reference for immortality came because Arjun has the picture of Hanumanji on his flag, and Hanumanji is one of the 8 immortals. So when we talk of scientific research on immortality, I will say there are 2 aspects. One is the modern scientific effect, and that we can say that when we are meditating, the breath rate is going down and the time passes quickly. So we say that all the parameters which represent that the age is increasing, there is reversal of the aging process. And so if the refinement of consciousness and refinement of the nervous system is there, we can continue with the same physiology for quite long time. depending on how much purity we are able to maintain. Actually, when we talk of scientific research through Vedic science, we can say that these things can be explained by researching in consciousness. Because in Ramcharitmanas, for Hanumanji, Goswami Tulsidas ji says that Prabhu hi pratap jo kalahu khai, with the help of the transcendence, with the blessing of the transcendence, Hanumanji is able to eat the kal. Kal means time. You see, Kal is on one hand, the Kal is, you can say, the Lord of Death. On the other hand, we can also say Kal is time. So we see in our meditation, when we say time passes quickly, means we have transpassed the time. We were actually winning over the time. So Hanumanji, because every time he is reciting the name of the Lord, so he is able to win over the time or win over the Kal. That is the death. So that is the way of Vedic research, we can say. Basically, for immortality, Maharishi has explained it in various ways. First of all, we can say that everyone maintaining the individuality, there is one way that the child, and then we can say the infant or child, and then teenager and the youth and the old person. The same person is changing the physiology, but maintaining the identity. So Maharishi says that we can continue with the same manner, that the individuality is maintained, but we are experiencing the continuity. So that is one way of explaining the immortality. Another way is that we always say for Maharishi Brahmalin, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, Brahmalin Gurudev. So means in the unity consciousness, the individual is Brahman and Brahman is eternal. But there the individuality is not there. Especially in the case of 8 Chiranjeevi, the individuality also is there. And for that, what Maharishi explained, that you know that when we see our physiology is opaque. The light is not passing through. But we know in meditation, we are refining the consciousness. So in the same way, Maharishi says that we can refine the physiology. And if we continue to refine the physiology, then the body will be there, but it can't be seen. We can see through the body, because the body has refined to the level of air. That is why we say Pawan Putra, because it is just air. We can't see it. It can move anywhere. So all those qualities will come and the individuality will remain. Another one factor is that Maharishi also mentions that it then depends on the person who is in the unity consciousness, whether one wants to stay with the physiology, because that is the field of all possibilities, or one can just be immortal at the level of Brahman. So that is also a kind of immortality. And there are instances. Actually, when Bali was killed by Bhagwan Ram, then Bhagwan Ram told to Bali that I can give you life and you can continue to live. But Bali said, I want to be with you. I want to just be submerged in your total self. So that way, it depends, we can say, one can take either way. So this is one we have to really work on this way through Vedic science by research in consciousness. And we all can really be immortal either through unity consciousness, or there are many sages still in Himalayas. This ever-changing physiology will continue to change. Basically, we can have that consciousness which never changes. As far as recap is concerned, I would like to just say that actually we are still describing the importance of name. First of all, the name of the persons who are present, the Maharathis, and then the very specific conches. And the name of the conch represents the strength and ability of the person, of the Maharathi. So Maharishi is giving a lot of emphasis on the names, and it is not necessary to know even the meaning of the name. Just taking the name, that vibration will help. So that is very important, that the name is there. and that represent the name of the conches. In one shloka, it was also mentioned that because the Pandavas were having support from Lord Krishna, so they were having the living, we can say, or blowing the conches from the level of transcendence. So that is why even the sound of the conches. Another effect was coming that the righteousness, there are dharma and adharma, and Bhagwan Krishna is sitting in between, because he has to balance the adharma and the dharma, even though keeping neutral, but still see the kind of short recap for that. And this is what we can talk of immortality. As we will also have some depends on questions. In case there are some questions, we can discuss, or we can go ahead, and when questions come, we can discuss. Thank you. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you, Sharmaji, for this beautiful explanation on immortality. We will take questions in the end so that we can finish the chacha first. So now we will move on with the shloka 23. Go ahead, please.
Jai Gurudev. Yotsyamanavekseham ya etetra samagataha dhartarashtrasya durbuddhehe yuddhe priyachikirshavaha yotsyamanavekseham ya etetra samagataha dhartarashtrasya durbuddhehe yuddhe priyachikirshavaha. Let me look on those who are assembled here, ready to fight, eager to accomplish in battle what is dear to the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra.
Commentary. Yep.
Hemaji, unable to share the screen, didn't give permission.
Oh, Sachinji, please make Sunita co-host. Meanwhile, we will read the commentary.
Yes.
Yes.
The tone of this verse shows the strength of Arjuna's indignation against the evil which the supporters of Duryodhana wish to accomplish by fighting. The contempt is so great that Arjuna does not even speak Duryodhana's name. And by naming his father, Dhritarashtra, he brings shame on him also. Arjuna is sure of his position, sure that he is making a stand to safeguard virtue and resist corruption. He does not think that all those assembled in the opposing army are evil in themselves, but they are supporters of evil. In verse 21, Sanjaya addressed Dhritarashtra as Lord of Earth. Yet here he reports Arjuna's insinuation that Dhritarashtra is being brought to shame by the actions of his sons. This shows that as father of his evil-minded sons, Dhritarashtra is ultimately responsible for the threatened destruction of the whole community. when the collective karma action threatens national destruction, it is beyond the power of the individual to check it. This is even more true when it has reached the ultimate limit and is about to break into catastrophe. Therefore, it is wise for people of every generation to be cautious and not to tolerate an increase of wrongdoing in their surroundings, but to nip it in the bud, for it is the cumulative influence of these small wrongs done by individuals in their own little spheres of activity that produces national and international tensions and leads to catastrophe. There is a way of transcendental meditation taught by Sri Krishna Bhagavan to be practiced by each individual daily in order to infuse the transcendental divine consciousness into his own mind, so that by nature man may become freed from wrong tendencies and may become the source of good influence in all spheres of life. Had Dhritarashtra as a king educated his sons in the art of transcending and gaining divine consciousness, the royal family of the Kauravas would not have been the cause of this great war, which brought disaster on the civilization of the time. This is a message which should be heeded in every generation. It is for the world's rulers and for those in public life who have the welfare of mankind at heart to organize education in such a way that everyone has an opportunity of learning how to cultivate divine consciousness. No generation should be allowed to leave behind an evil influence, the accumulated consequences of which will be reaped by future generations. Jai Guru.
The scientific research of verse 23 as
Excuse me,
verified.
Sunita ji, can you hold on 1 second? Sunita, please share the scientific research. Now you are the co-host, and then Anita ji will explain.
I'll check, ma'am, because...
Yeah, he just made you co-host.
Yes, ma'am. Just 1 second, ma'am. I'm sharing it.
Anita ji, please go ahead.
Yeah. So this verse is verified by scientific research through Maharishi Transcendental Meditation. That is the improved perception and memory. We have seen that those practicing Maharishi Transcendental technique showed significant improvements in clarity of perception and memory over a 2-week period, in contrast to control subjects randomly assigned to daily periods of a control technique and to controls who made no change in their routines. In the verse, look on those who are assembled, relates to increase perceptual flexibility, increase vigilance, and improved capacity for selective attention. Jai Gurudev.
So here, Arjuna's indignation against the evil is obvious. You see the tone of voice. And in verse 21, we have heard that Sanjaya addressed Dhritarashtra as, quote, Lord of Earth, end of quote, which means that he's capable of stopping the war but still he's not exercising his power. Therefore, he becomes responsible for war and destruction. When collective karma threatens national destruction, it is beyond the power of the individual to check it. We heard that in the commentary. So wise people should be cautious and nip it in the bud, because it is when stress accumulates that wars break out. And how do we prevent and handle these wrong tendencies and stress? With transcendental meditation. Maharishi mentioned in the commentary, Sri Krishna Bhagavan gave this technique of transcending at that time also. So the knowledge had been there. So that is the technique to gain deep rest during meditation, which eliminates stress, and then people are not giving an opportunity for these negative tendencies to come up. So if only Dhritarashtra had his sons learn transcendental meditation and do it, this war could have been prevented. So there's a message here for leaders of nations to implement Maharishi's Vedic technologies, most importantly, transcendental meditation, so that we can promote peace in the society, in the environment. Nobody has a right to leave behind evil influence, because then the future generations will have to face the consequences. So I'll stop here and invite any comments or questions.
Hemaji, we could even add to it, we could even add to this great scientific research that there is a great clarity of perception and memory. And when we increase that, then we become very selective in our move, in our daily life. So this is a great research for application in our daily life as well. That is, increase vigilance and improve capacity for selective attention. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. I'm glad you brought up that point, Anitaji. Another point is, those who are doing transcendental meditation engage in spontaneous right action. So there is no chance for the negativity to come out in thoughts or speech or action, because we are experiencing transcendence during meditation and bring its value into the activity. All our actions will become spontaneously right and life-supporting. That's a very great benefit of regular practice of transcendental meditation. Okay, any other comments? Okay, so now we'll move on to the next shloka, 24. Go ahead, please.
Jai Gurudev. Sanjaya Uvacha Evamukto Hrishikeshaha Gudakesena Bharata Senayorubhayormadhye Sthapayitva Radottamam. Sanjaya Uvacha Evamukto Hrishikeshaha Gudakesena Bharata Senayorubhayormadhye Sthapayitva Radottamam. Sanjaya said, O Bharata, thus invoked by Gudakesha, Arjuna, Hrishikesha, Bhagwan Krishna, having drawn up the magnificent chariot between the two armies. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. Sanjaya is reporting to Dhritarashtra what is happening on the battlefield. Here, he addresses him as Bharata, descendant of the great king of Bharata, Greater India. Arjuna, the hero of the Mahabharata, drives out between the two armies to see with whom he has to fight. Sanjaya here uses the name Gudakesha to refer to him. This is to symbolize an essential quality of Arjuna's. For Gudakesha means the Lord of Sleep, one who has mastery over sleep, over dullness of mind. Arjuna's one-pointedness of mind is thus expressed. As an unfailing archer, Arjuna has a mind which is fully alive. Sanjaya uses the word Gudakesha to depict the character and quality of the hero. Such is Vyasa's narrative skill. He uses exact and concise expressions with great fullness of meaning to tell the story. It only needs a mind to understand them in order to enjoy his writings and derive the maximum from them. Vyasa has used the adjective magnificent to describe Arjuna's chariot. This one word, which in the Sanskrit text reads Uttamam, conveys a world of glory. It indicates magnificence, comfort, stability, lightness, and strength. In fact, all the qualities of a chariot that is designed to meet the fiercest enemy there could be. Again, the chariot is magnificent not only for its quality, but also for its charioteer and the hero within it. Hrishikesha, the lord of the senses, is the charioteer, and Gudakesha, the conqueror of sleep, is the hero. Jai Gurudev.
This verse is verified by scientific research through Maharishi Transcendental Meditation. It says, respect for traditional values. And through Maharishi Transcendental Meditation technique, it reports higher levels of respect for traditional, cultural, and religious values in comparison to non-meditating students at two control universities. The verse, O Bharata, thus invoked, relates to greater respect for the views of others, greater open-mindedness, greater flexibility of constructions of reality, increased respectfulness, and increase intrinsic spirituality. The point here in the scientific research, which is of the greatest value to us in our daily life, is how Maharishi's transcendental meditation leads to these great qualities like increase in intrinsic spirituality, which means a very natural way, a process to come to that line through Maharishi's transcendental meditation. And of course, the great respect for others' viewpoints, and also great respect for others' culture. So the two armies in the battlefield, they hold respect for each other despite the fact they are in the battlefield fighting one against the other. Jai Gurudev.
Sharmaji.
Yes, this shloka is very short shloka in which again, as I was mentioning earlier, that Maharishi ji is emphasizing on the specific names or specific words used for Arjun or Bhagwan Krishna or others. When we say Gurakesh means the one who has conquered the sleep. And actually, all those who are practicing transcendental meditation, they know that there are different states of consciousness. And we can say that a person is in higher states of consciousness, is beyond the sleep. And actually, just as you close the eyes, you are conversing, we can say the energy is conserved and the person is still having wide, and also the Hrishikesh, the word is that the control over the senses, because every sense basically is being directed by the self only. So Bhagwan Krishna has control over the senses. And then the resolute, actually the intellect is resolute. And basically the transcendental meditation, what it does, it increases, or not only it evolves the consciousness, but also it gives better ability to comprehend while focusing on one thing. There is another research on transcendental meditation which says when we are the wide, we can say the unbounded consciousness. So that is a very specific research showing that it says that we will look. So looking will bring with the comprehension as well as localized value. And another word, divine consciousness. So using the divine consciousness means that, as Himaji was mentioning, that once that pure consciousness is enlivened, then automatically our action is right. That is infusing the pure consciousness or divine consciousness in our thinking and action. And that actually is everywhere. In all Vedic texts, we can see that spontaneous right action is the result experience of that Bhagwan Ram tells Lakshman that this is our natural tendency, that our mind itself does not go in the right direction. It all in the wrong direction. It always goes in the right direction. So that is how we can say. Basically, it is the terminology which is very important. And Maharishi has mentioned that that is the consciousness of Vyasa. When we say Vyas, those who know Hindi, they know that Vyas is diameter. Vyas is diameter and Ved is mandal. So actually only diameter can take the complete value of the mandal. So that is the consciousness of Vyasa. And to really understand the total meaning of the name into enliven in the consciousness, we have to have the consciousness of the Vyasa. And that will come through the regular practice of transcendental meditation.
Thank you, Sharmaji. I really appreciate how beautifully you brought out meaning of Vyasa and the effect we have when you say, the word Vyasa. I never knew that before, and it's very beautiful knowledge you are bringing out. Thank you very much. Any questions? Otherwise, we will move on to the next shloka. Go ahead, please.
Jai Gurudev. भीष्मद्रोण प्रमुखतः सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्यैतान् समवेतान् कुरुनिति भीष्मद्रोण प्रमुखतः सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्यैतान् समवेतान् कुरूनिति Before Bhishma and Drona and all the rulers of the earth said, Partha, Arjuna, behold these Kurus gathered together. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. Lord Sri Krishna Bhagavan had seen that Arjuna was outraged. Anger is a great enemy. It reduces one's strength, and his charioteer does not like to see Arjuna's strength waning. Lord Sri Krishna Bhagavan is required to do something to restore Arjuna to his normal stature. But this alone will not suffice. Something more is necessary to make Arjuna really strong. Anger in him indicates that he is not really strong, for anger is a sign of weakness. Lord Sri Krishna Bhagavan knows that Arjuna, although the greatest archer of his time, has not been given the real secret of warfare. He has been taught the art of archery, but he has not been trained to shoot his arrows while remaining firm in himself. If an archer shoots while he is angry, his anger will make him weak. Arjuna has called Lord Sri Krishna Bhagavan Achyuta, which means firm and unmoved. This is what Lord Sri Krishna Bhagavan has to teach Arjuna to be. But wisdom cannot be given to a man unless he asks for it and shows his readiness to receive it. It is therefore necessary for Lord Sri Krishna Bhagavan to arouse in Arjuna the need and desire to learn. It would have been demoralizing if Arjuna had been told on the battlefield that he needed to know the art of being firm. He had to recognize this for himself. Only then could Lord Sri Krishna Bhagavan help him. To produce the desired result in Arjuna, the Lord speaks one short sentence. Partha, behold these Kurus gathered together. This is the first utterance of Lord Sri Krishna Bhagavan in the Bhagavad Gita. The first word of advice to Arjuna on the battlefield. The miracle it produced in Arjuna has for centuries escaped the attention of practically every commentator, and in consequence, Arjuna is portrayed as a confused mental wreck. A close study of the commentary on the following verses will reveal the true nature of Arjuna's condition. Lord Sri Krishna Bhagavan addresses Arjuna as Partha, the son of Pritha. With this expression, he reminds Arjuna of his mother and thereby creates a warm wave of love in his heart, the warmth of love that connects the son and mother. It is this tender bond of love that develops into all family and social relationships that maintains a family, a society, a nation, and a world. Having created this wave of love In Arjuna's heart, Lord Sri Krishna Bhagavan desires to strengthen it, and for this he says, "Behold these Kurus gathered together." This quickens all the ways of the heart where different relationships are held in different shades of love. Seeing all his dear ones together in one glance, his whole heart swells with love. Jai Gurudev.
Sharmaji will make comment. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The scientific research of this verse says increased speed during focused attention through Maharishi transcendental meditation. It also says displayed increased speed of performance on a test of focused attention. The word behold in this verse relates to improved comprehension, faster processing of cognitively complex information, improved concentration, increased field independence, indicating broader comprehension and increased ability to focus attention. Jai Gurudev.
I have invited Brahmachari Girish Varmaji to make comments on this very important shloka, but he is traveling and he's unable to join us. So Sharmaji will make comments. Go ahead, please.
Yes, in this shloka, actually two things are most important. One is that from previous shlokas, we have seen that Arjun was in anger and he was taking the name of not of Duryodhan, but of Dhritarashtra. That shows that anger was there. And Maharishi wants to say that when one's consciousness is excited consciousness, not having the stability, then the strength is less. So on one hand, Bhagwan Krishna wants to pacify that anger so that Arjun can act in a balanced state with a, we can say, broader comprehension and focusing attention. The other point, important point is that actually, as I have earlier also I have mentioned that all our Vedic texts, they say that someone has asked a question and then the answer is given. So Bhagwan Krishna is such a great teacher that he wants to Arjun to be ready to ask the question, and he wants him to show him the state of, we can say, bringing the value of the heart by using the name Pratha, the name of the mother, and then we can say realizing the importance of the society, of the family and everything, so that the heart value is also developed, and besides that the unbounded, we can say, comprehension without anger is also there. So basically, again, the value of the name, the Parth, and the name Parth has been used, which is very important, so just to increase the value of the heart. I think that will suffice for this. In case the questions are there, why I have mentioned for the questions, that because what happens is that when the question is there, then we can answer is more proper, because there are so many things one can speak of, but basically we have to arouse the question and then we can discuss more about it. Yes.
Thank you, Sharmaji. In this, as you said, Sri Krishna Bhagavan is waiting for Arjuna to ask a question so that he can, Krishna Bhagavan can give the divine knowledge. And so there is a message here for all of us that we don't have to give unnecessary advice to everybody that we see. Only when somebody asks for advice, you can give it. Otherwise, no matter how much advice you give, they won't pay any attention to it. So Sri Krishna Bhagavan is very patiently waiting for Arjuna to vent and then eventually hoping that he will reach a state where he will surrender to Sri Krishna Bhagavan and ask for advice. He says, Sri Krishna, I don't know what to do, so please tell me. So until then, Krishna Bhagavan waits. So that is the point that is made here. And the other important point I found was that this shloka had been not fully understood, and Maharishi said in the commentary that many commentators, actually all commentators, have missed the point of this very first sentence that Sri Krishna Bhagavan spoke in this chapter. This is the only short sentence he speaks in this entire first chapter of 47 verses. And there is great significance of what Sri Krishna Bhagavan said. He says, Partha, calling out his name, which is related to his mother, and says, look at the army. And when he called him with the name Partha, that enables Arjuna to remember his mother and experience that love instead of indignation for the opposite army. And this point had not been mentioned in other Gitas with other commentators, though I don't discount or underscore them. They're very beautiful commentaries out there. I heard that there had been maximum number of commentaries on Gita than any other Vedic literature. And this point had not been mentioned. So I thought I will, bring out that point. Any questions? Otherwise, we will move on.
Hemaji, one question of mine is the last line in the paragraph when it says, his whole heart swells with love. Do we understand at that point of time, Arjuna is moving towards cosmic consciousness in his evolution?
Well, we are moving in higher states of consciousness all the time. With every day when we do meditation, we are going one step forward. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that is also happening. All this development of transcendental consciousness, cosmic consciousness, and God consciousness all can take place all at the same time. It's not stepwise. It's not like you will get established in transcendental consciousness first, and then you will reach cosmic consciousness, you get established, and then you develop God consciousness. It's not like that.
Right.
Later on in
Right.
chapter 6, we will study it in detail, where Maharishi says that development of transcendental consciousness and cosmic consciousness go hand in hand.
Right. Thank you, Hemaji.
You're welcome. So now we'll move on to the next shloka. Go ahead, please.
Jai Gurudev. Tatra pasyat sthitan pardaha pitrunath pitamahan acharyan matulan bhratrun putran pautran sakhim sada tatra pasyat sthitan parthaha pitrunath pitamahan acharyan matulan bhratrun putran pautran sakhin sthatha. The son of Pritha, Arjuna, saw there before him uncles and grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons and grandsons, and many friends as well. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. the son of Prithasa, indicates that when Arjuna gazed on the opposing army, his vision was colored by love and not by enmity or bravery. Had he seen with the vision of the scorcher of enemies, this is what he would have been called. This indicates the power of control that Sri Krishna Bhagavan possesses. He said, Partha, behold, and Arjuna became as a son before his mother, full of love and reverence. Jai Gurudev.
The scientific research of this verse through Maharishi transcendental meditation goes increased tendency to see man as essentially good. The participant in the transcendental meditation program were found to have significantly more positive conceptions of human nature and higher levels of tolerance. The word in the verse saw relates to growth of a more sympathetic, helpful, and caring nature, increased respectfulness, increased consideration for others, and increased tolerance. Chekudev?
So this verse continues to describe the effect of the one short sentence spoken by Sri Krishna Bhagavan in the previous verse. Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kurun. So now Arjuna is looking at his enemies with love and not with enmity or anger. So it's a pretty simple shloka and easy to understand. Unless there are any questions or comments, we can move on. Any questions? So we'll move on to the next shloka, please.
Jai Gurudev. Shvashuran sohrudaschaiva senayorubhayorapi tan samikshya sa kaunteyah sarvan bandhunavasthitan. Shvashuran sohrudaschaiva senayorubhayorapi tan samikshya sa kaunteyah sarvan bandhunavasthitan. Fathers-in-law and well-wishers also in both the armies. Then that son of Kunti, Arjuna, seeing all these kinsmen thus present, Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. Arjuna stands up to behold his opponents, but he fails to see opponents. Instead, he sees his dear ones. This is because his vision has been colored with love by Lord Sri Krishna Bhagavan, calling him Partha. With this, the whole scene takes a critical turn. Arjuna, who was about to go into battle, is overtaken by pity, as the following verse show. Jai Gurudev.
The scientific research of this verse is verified through Maharishi Transcendental Meditation, showing increased cognitive efficiency. All those who learned Maharishi Transcendental Meditation program showed improved cognitive performance as measured by increased speed during a task of concentrated attention by improved memory of details. The words seeing all these kinsmen relates to improved comprehension, increased mental clarity and wakefulness, increased orderliness of brain functioning. Jai Gurudev.
Anitaji, please go ahead and make main points.
In this, what we have seen, how in reality of life, whatever is the outcome of the battlefield, the vision changes. Because when we see so much of devastation to be held, which Arjuna can foresee, and the fundamental principle that we gather here is that there would be so much of suffering. So in this verse, the qualities of compassion, the qualities of heart and mind are there, because there is trying to be a balance between the heart and mind, which at the moment is disturbed because of the lack of coordination between the qualities of heart and mind. So what we have seen here is the valor is also getting diminished, because now Arjuna is not in that state. He is in suspension there between the qualities of heart and mind. Jai Gurudev.
Any questions or comments on this? Ravindra, can you please check if there are any questions in Ramraj TV chat box?
No, not any questions in the
Okay.
chat box.
Okay. Sharmaji, would you like to add anything? Otherwise, we can end with Mala.
I think I would just like to add that it does show that Arjun's consciousness was colored with love. And that is what Bhagavan Krishna wanted. So we can say, even though Arjun was in a higher state of consciousness, but not at that level which comprehend any anger and to act in equanimity. That was not his consciousness. And Bhagavan Krishna, what he wanted, he was successful in coloring the consciousness of Arjun with love.
Thank you, Sharmaji. Any others would like to contribute anything? Please go ahead.
No more. No,
Okay.
my side is okay.
Okay. So we had a very nice discussion, and I thank Sharmaji for giving us a very beautiful points about scientific research. There is one message in chat box Dr. Bhavana Tiwari mentioned. I would like to read it out. She said, I'm very much thankful to Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Bhuvnesh Sharmaji. He explained every point very clearly. The meaning of Vyas, meaning of Rishikesh, control over the senses, that is Krishna. It's a great privilege to listen to him, Jai Gurudev and Charan Sparsha, sir. I agree with everything that Dr. Bhavanaji said, and we are very grateful for the knowledge from our holy tradition, from Maharishi and to Bhuvnesh Sharmaji for bringing it out to the, public.
Actually, it is all glory to Maharishi's knowledge and also all those who are listening, because whatever comes out, and that I have seen in many courses also, what comes out is the outcome of the collective consciousness of the audience or the listeners. So that shows that our listeners are all awakened, and so it's a great satsang. Thank you to Hemaji also. Yes, Jai Gurudev.
That's why we call it satsang. In the vicinity of sat means good people, we get a lot of benefit. Maharishi mentioned satsang as one of the most important things in reaching higher states of consciousness, because we learn so much just by being in the vicinity of the wise and learned people and highly intellectual, experts. We gain a lot. Thank you all. Like Sharmaji said, credit goes to the audience also for being there and asking beautiful questions. So we will stop now. We will do Mala.
I have one question, madam, just now.
Yeah.
It came in my mind. I just want to ask to Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, that if the love is there in the consciousness of Arjuna, then how it is possible to fight with our relatives with full of love? How it is possible?
That is why the whole knowledge of Bhagavad Gita was given by Shri Krishna.
Right.
Because that love, even though we can say in the God consciousness, universal love is there. But here, the love is confined more to his family, mother, and society. So that way we will say, because as Hemaji also explained this point, that everyone has lives life in different states of consciousness. And if we write on one hand this waking, dreaming, and sleeping, on the other hand, we write cosmic consciousness, God consciousness, and unity consciousness. So the transcendent consciousness bridges the gap. So love is always there in everyone, but it is limited. With this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, what was necessary for Arjuna? To have the higher states of consciousness, so that the universal love doing one's duty for holding the dharma. So love is also there, but here the love we can say is still it needs to be elevated to God consciousness. So that is why this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita was necessary. Yes.
Yes, Sharmaji, Jai Gurudev. Sharmaji, we add here that the love is here at one side, but at the same time, Krishna Bhagwan is telling Arjun, love all right, but your dharma is more important to you now. So you have to choose between the negative and the positive. So dharma is also a type of love that at the moment is required for Arjuna.
Yes,
You can say
that is another good point. The other point is, just because you love somebody, it doesn't mean that you will not take any action against them. For example, a mother loves her son very much, but if the child is misbehaving and doing wrong, mother has to discipline the child. So the mother will say whatever she needs to say to alert him that this behavior is not acceptable. And sometimes mother needs to take disciplinary action. In India, sometimes they beat the children, which is not right at all. They should not beat the children, but there are other ways of disciplining your children. So when you are disciplining, it seems like you are hard on your son. But if you don't discipline the child will become, rotten. I mean, with rotten behavior, bad behavior, he will not turn out to be a good, responsible citizen. So if somebody is doing wrong, we need to take disciplinary action. And that doesn't mean that we don't love them. Hai na, Bhavana ji?
Yes, madam, very much correct.
Yes.
Thanks.
I'm sure you're very much aware of it, being the principal of Maharishi Vidya Mandir. I'm sure you've come into this kind of situation many times. That is the value of Gita. Whenever we have a dilemma, we don't know what to do. And then you read Gita and you get answer from Sri Krishna Bhagavan.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Yes, you're welcome, Dr. Bhavana. Mala, please.
Jai Gurudev. कृपया परया विष्टः विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत् दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण युयुत्सुं समुपस्थितम्. Possessed by extreme compassion, spoke this in grief. Seeing these my kinsmen, O Krishna, gathered eager to fight. Sidanti mama gatrani mukham cha parisushyati vepatuscha sharire me रोमहर्षश्च जायते. My limbs fail and my mouth is parched. My body quivers and my hair stands on end. Jai Guru.
So we will do Shanti part. Mukesh ji, Ghanshyam ji, and Manish ji. Oh, sorry. Before that, if there are any birthdays in the audience, please raise your hand. Our Veda Pandits will recite Vedic Ashirvad, and Meenakshi will recite Janma Dinamidam, birthday song in Sanskrit. Any birthdays, please don't feel shy. Raise your hands. No. Okay. So Mukesh ji and Ghanshyam ji and Manish ji. Shanti Path. Shanti Path.
जी मैम. हरि ओम द्यौः शान्तिरन्तरिक्षगुं शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्विश्वे देवाः शान्तिर्ब्रह्मा शान्तिः सर्वगुं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः शामा शान्तिरेधि यतो यतः शमीहसि ततो नो अभयं कुरु छन्नः कुरु पराजाभ्यो भयन्नः पशुभ्यः हरिः ओम.
Jai Gurudev. We'll meet next Sunday. It is Christmas Day, but still we will meet. Our Gita Satsang will be a Christmas gift for us from Sri Krishna Bhagavan and from Maharishi ji. To have this beautiful knowledge on Christmas Day will be very nice. So next Sunday, same time, we will meet again. Thank you all for joining. Jai Gurudev.
ma'am.
All of you can come on the video, please.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev, madam.
Jai Gurudev. Nice to see you all. Padma joined today. Jai Gurudev to all. Okay. So, Sachin, you can end the